So we're at a local fishery today, and the owners managed it very, very well. Real sensible. He had a lot of low auction in the summer, and knew that the carp had spawned very, very well. So to get the best out of a netting, you need two things. One, if you drain the water below the reeds, and two, use a real fine mesh, suitable net. It's no good. A lot of people are trying to drag a 50-metre net down here because it's quite narrow. But we use a 100-metre 8mm mesh, heavy lead line, big deep net. Lot bigger and deeper than you need for the lake, but you can't have it long enough, can't have it deep enough. You want plenty of gear. And so about 70 odd carp in here. We've caught about 70. Well, we've caught over 70 carp, and we've removed easily. I don't know, all the bins are full and they've gone into a little pond next door. But draining it makes a massive difference, because all the tiny fish you're trying to catch out are living in the reeds. You'll catch some in open water, but if you can just get it, and it's not a lot of effort. A lot of people nowadays are quite scared to drain the lake. Some people say, oh, you can't drain it. You can always drain it, but if you can, it makes all the difference. And you never catch them all. Doesn't matter how efficient you are, doesn't matter how good the gear is, you never get them all out unless you literally drain all the lake down. People can brag about, oh yeah, we do this, do that, but we do it all the time, and you never get them all out. So you can be as thorough as you want, use the best kit in the world. So you're just trying to do as thorough a job as you can, continually cutting the leads, continually working the nets. And it's always good. I love doing these jobs simply because when you can work closely with the owner and they get the water down, which is a godsend when you're trying to catch tiny carp. They're literally an inch to 3 inches long, most of them. They'd go through a 14mm mesh net, and they'd get gilled and all sorts, but they'd go through that. And a lot of people don't use that. They use an 18mm, and they could fly through that. So you can net it with an inappropriate kit, and yes, you'll catch some of the big fish, but we've caught huge amounts of fish, and it's gone really, really well. And that's what it's all about. Get here early, do the job. Like I say, if you only got one net, you'd attempt to drag it all the way down there. I never do that. You learn when I was young not to do that. Got the kit to do it. I could shoot enough net to do the whole thing in one go, and oh yeah, look, it looks really impressive. But I divide it up, because the more you drag, if you only had a 75-metre net, also you could say, oh, that's right, I'll just drag it all the way down the end. Yes, of course you're going to catch some fish, but you're never going to nail them, because they can blow it, and if all the fish are in one area and you're not continually cutting the lead line. So I reduced the amount of dragging, so you're using the net to, it's just all about technique, really. So yeah, it's a good job. And these fish are a little bit down in weight simply because they're competing with so many tiny fish, but now we've made a lovely big amount of space for them. They've got a lovely season where they can pack the weight on again now. And that's what it's all about. It's like when the oxygen's low, it's those tiny fish that are predominantly causing that. Obviously, are all part of the biomass, but at the same time, they don't need a lot of oxygen individually to survive. It's the big fish that have more of a demand for more food and more oxygen. So when you're leaving all these tinies in, it ends up being the big ones that you lose. And that's normal. That happens all over the place. So you can't beat doing this. We hear it all the time. People say, let's put predators in. I've never seen that work, apart from in some lakes in France where they stock 250 kilos of predatory fish for every 100 kilos of non-predatory fish, which isn't feasible, and I don't think is the right thing to do anyway. Personally, I think you're better off just continually cropping, creating space, making sure that your stock's in good condition. The weights will come back, and that's safe and sensible. A lot of pie in the sky ideas, I've never seen them work. I just stick to what we know. I mean, we're always, we've experimented with different things in the past and seen enough people do various different things, but you can't beat just sticking to putting the graft in, sticking to the basics, doing them thoroughly. Yes, every year we net a lot of our clients' waters every single year because it needs doing, basically, because you're creating space. Not just carp waters. Everyone thinks it's all about carp waters, but it's not at all. You look at just in the last couple of weeks, Gary's Crusions and Tench Pond in Norfolk, there's no carp in there at all, and that's coming on leaps and bounds. But every year we take fish out of there. You just got to keep that space. You can leave it to nature, of course, and say, oh yeah, no, we just leave it. But like I keep saying, you're going to have massive amounts of peaks and troughs there, Some years will be great, some years will be bad, and we're all suffering with the climate and with different temperatures and mild winters, which doesn't help anyone. But just constantly working at it, constantly working at your fishery, and that's when you get more consistent results and happier fish.